Ed, how are you doing?
Hey, good, good. How are you?
All good.
Really good,
Thanks a
thank you.
lot. Thanks a lot.
And thank you
So,
for your participation. We are really happy to have you.
Absolutely, yeah. I appreciate you guys taking interest in what we're doing, and yeah, stoked to be a part of it, man.
Yeah,
well, thank you very much. Really
thank you.
appreciate it. It's actually an honor to have you here, and I would like to start like introducing you. So, like from
Sure.
Born Weapon, and it's a really a pleasure to have you here. And as always, I would like to ask a little bit about yourself. How did you, meet music in your life, and how it developed, and also about your project, and what happened, how did it start? If you can, tell
Okay,
a little bit about this.
sounds good. I'm gonna
Thank
crack this, and
Yeah.
we'll get started. Let's do it.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Man, how long ago was that? I was a teenager, I think early teenage years. I was like taking a major interest in music enough to actually start like wanting to learn the instruments. Um, I think before that, like my earliest memories of being like turned on to music is like my dad's fucking red Saab convertible blasting Van Halen, and I
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? So like, uh, I guess back then I hadn't actually picked up an instrument, but I think I was probably just banging on a bunch of stuff in my house, pots and pans and what have you.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think I was like 11 or 12. I wanted a guitar, and I got, like one of those like combo things where you get the guitar and the like small combo amp, electric guitar. So it was like a big deal. And I think back then I was listening to like stuff on MTV or whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Anything hard rock or like punk, I was getting into pretty hard. But then I like, and I took like some guitar lessons here and there, but I took interest in drumming just as much. And I think within a year's time, I pivoted to drumming and started taking drumming lessons. And like, I feel like I've always just kind of been a guitar, like a closet guitarist. You know what I mean? Like I have guitars, I play guitar to myself. I feel like I can get around the neck with power chords, you know what I mean? Real simple shit, kind of like crowbar is like right up my alley, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but things like death metal has like I haven't gotten past like certain levels of like abilities to play death metal on guitar enough to be like, oh, I'm gonna be in a band and play guitar for a death metal band. That's and I have to just say, like, I have an immense amount of respect for any guitarist that can do vocals at the same time,
Oh,
because god damn it, that shit is hard.
yeah, yeah.
And but like but yeah, I guess I probably started drumming around 12 or so and took lessons a little bit, but I got ADHD. I wasn't able to like super commit to like all of the things I had like homework for. You know what I mean? I would just start bashing around on things and just figuring stuff out from listening to other music. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess I don't know how long it's been. What, 12? I'm 37. You do the math.
Yeah, 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 right.
um,
Yeah.
it's been a fucking long time. I've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've had several bands, that like actually felt like they were real bands. So yeah, I've been around. I've done this for a minute. Um, but yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
and what about the born like of Bone Weapon? Like, how did it started?
yeah. I mean, so I think it was a combination of different things. I've always just been interested in like older like times before technology, times before uh you know there was like a currency and like just different like things that we know to be social norms now, things that we know that create a society. Like
Yeah.
I've always felt like it was interesting to look back in time and what it would be like to be literally trying to survive every day, trying to make sure that you are getting yourself enough, fuel to exist. You know what I mean? Food and shelter and things like that, like the bare necessity. Bare necessities. Fucking Jungle Book over here. But I'm just saying, like, it's always been interesting to me to think about what it would be like back then. And so that was the biggest inspiration for this band. And on top of that, just like hearing like the whole like the phrase caveman death metal, it's just like for a lot of the bands that were considered caveman death metal, it just didn't vibe with me. It wasn't the same kind of thing that I'm into. I don't really like, I don't love, like there's just like certain elements of like, hardcore infused death metal. It's just not what I'm interested in. And like, because that was like the coined phrase, I was like, but what if it was like real, like caveman?
Yeah.
Like, what if we were talking about like real fucking caveman? Because like, I love the idea of like knuckle dragging riffs and like, slow and mid tempo, death doom kind of stuff. It's a huge, it's influenced me in my music a lot. It feels like it's right on my level as far as like smooth brain, like just keep it as dumb as shit. But I think like we pepper in some things that aren't like the most boring, you know what I mean? I like to keep things interesting, but everything musically for me is about groove. Everything that I do is about rhythm more so than anything else. It's about like just being into the beat more than anything, you know what I mean? That's every band I've ever been in has just been very like drum centric. But of course it would be because I'm the one drumming. So
Yeah.
but yeah.
Also, talking about the lineup. So can you please like talk about how many members? Yeah, 3 or 4.
It's 2 other members and me. So Isaac Ryan, who is an excellent guitarist. He's brought a lot of interesting elements. He's written some really cool stuff for me to like kind of play off of. And Will Hirsch, who Ryan and Isaac and Will have like naturally they have a chemistry because they've been in bands before this band, and I actually like found them through like kind of a sludgier project that they were doing. It was kind of like Neurosis. There was like elements of doom and sludge in there, but there was like there's some tendency for like different death metal stuff, and I was just like, I was into what they were doing and just reached out and just wanted to know what they were up to at one point. And then, kind of saw that it had dissolved, and I was like, are you guys doing anything, like anymore? Or like, and I think at the time, Will was also in another band called Drill Tusk, and Isaac was in this band called Shotzi, and I guess I just wanted to know what they were doing, and we just figured out a way to get a jam together, and I was just like, here's my vision, like, let's see how things gel. And it was just a natural, it worked so, like, everything that I was looking for it to be, I was able to adhere my drumming and my influences from death metal into what Isaac was bringing on guitar, and Will was like naturally able to keep up with, like, when we were jamming. That's the best. The dynamic between all 3 of us is like really quick. Like when we start to jam, everyone kind of figures it out in the moment, and it's like that's super important to me, at least in a band. And I think that many band members, especially in this like heavy kind of music, would attest to, is like sometimes just getting in the room and jamming and having that gel. If that doesn't work, it's not easy to write. I don't think, at least in my mind. I think there are bands out there that are like, states from like across from each other, and even sometimes like you know, in different countries, which is insane to me, but it's all, you know, the translation and sending, you know, communication with like, you record it at your place and you send it to them and they record over that and all that. I've never been able to do that. I've always been the guy that's like, let's all get in the room, let's figure it out. You know what I mean? And kind of hash out what it is that we want to do with this idea. And it takes time, you know what I mean? But I will say that like in that, how much time it does take, it really helps to have people be able to like pick up on shit fast. So that in the moment, when we do find something that we really like I'm constantly recording, constantly. There's never a time, like I'm pissed at myself if I didn't record something because, you know, we might just in the moment, like have some really sick idea and we might all like just in one, you know, moment, like all come together in this really awesome, part of a song, you know, with potential. And if you didn't catch it and you can't re-listen to it and put it back into play, then it's gone.
But actually, it's a very nice idea because sometimes it's true. You are with the flow and then it's gone.
Yeah. And especially with my brain, I'm just like, I'm ADHD, I'm OCD, I'm all over the place. And there's only so much I can remember at a time. There's only so much I can like commit to understanding at a time. And like, it helps to just record shit, listen back to it quickly and try and obviously like you're not going to emulate the exact same energy, the exact same thing, but
of course.
To have it, to be able to reference, to be able to create, like to be able to build off of, that's super important to me. So I'm constantly just right next to my drum set. I've got my, you know, my iPhone or whatever. I just got voice memo on, recording everything because it's just really important to me that like nothing is missed if there's anything that we can pull. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Totally. But sorry. I wanted to ask, do you have you or the other members, like, do you have other parallel projects apart from this?
Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. Like, we are an insatiable, you know, group of people, I swear. And like heavy music, there's just like, I mean, really, it could be any musician. We're just hungry to make and create. And so right now, I started a new project with my buddy Flan. We're going to be putting something together probably within the summertime. Right now, it's a 2-piece, and I'm actually really stoked on how fast we're writing because of it. So I'm being very protective about what other elements are introduced. We're actually experimenting with like splitting a signal with his bass so that it comes out of a guitar rig and a bass rig to make it heavy and full-bodied, but still just him. And I'm on drums and vocals, and he's on bass and vocals. And that project is called Dragging, but it's not a thing like to the world just yet. Obviously, I just said it now. That's the first time anyone's going to be hearing of it, except for like a few friends. But yeah, basically, we wrote a song within 20 minutes. And every song that we write is about what we're dragging. So the song that we fucking wrote first is called Bags of Snakes. And it's the ideas are just meant to be super dumb, super simple. So, you know, the concept is it's just meant to be really fun for me and like very brainless and in the moment. But at the same time, we're going to take it seriously. We're going to gig. We're going to do things, put out a record. We're going to put out a demo probably this summer, but yeah, dragging venomous bags of snakes into a pit where there's victims already. Maybe some are impaled, maybe some are just stuck down there. You know, shit like that. And Isaac and Will, they were just jamming with their old band that I had taken notice of them in the first place. John, I just jammed with them the other day. Isaac is also starting to play guitar for a band called Disarticulate, which is like more on the brutal death metal side of things. And yeah, I mean, it's sick. I encourage all of my musician friends and band members to be creative. You know what I mean? I encourage everyone to be creative. That's like my whole thing. I want anyone and everyone to be as creative as possible, because there's nothing but like rewarding aspects of being creative. You know what I mean? There's obviously it's stressful and sometimes, you know what I mean? But it's also like a really good way to get some fulfillment out of life. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
And also from your EP from the beginning, if I well remember, Thrive or Starve, right?
Thrive or Starve, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And to your album, it's a Chaos marked by Death of Sun, right?
Yeah, the newest release is Chaos Marked by Death of Sun, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So from the beginning, from your EP to the album now, you already had the same vision of the band from the EP to the album, right?
Well, no, things have evolved for sure. At the beginning, it was just about like kind of a more real, like true to history, look back at Paleolithic era, and what it would take to survive, and things about war and fighting for food and things like that. And I kind of felt like I hit a wall writing wise. And so I wanted to expand on what, world I could create with this idea. So at one point I was just like, I need to figure out something that can help this as a story kind of grow. Mm-hmm. So I developed a lore, and this record is the first of the exploration of that lore. You know what I mean? It's the origin story that I've created about this world that I'm building. And so not only is it about survival, not only is it about war and hunting, but it's introduced things into like a fantasy kind of realm, which isn't, a super typical thing for death metal, but I like to keep things interesting and new. I never like to make something that already has been made, because I'm never going to do it as good a justice. And I also just find that boring. Like, there's a ton of bands that I love that I'm super into that do that really well, that pull from old school 90s Finnish death metal, that are pulling from early US like 90s death metal, Death Doom, and they do it incredibly well, to the point where I'm just fucking super into it. Like, it's perfect, but I don't want to do that. It's the same with art. I make, art for death metal bands. I make art for my bands. And I never want it to look like a carbon copy of something that I've already seen.
Absolutely.
And I try my best for that not to be the case. Obviously, I'm pulling influences that I see that I really dig, but I always try to make it something a little different, have weirder elements to it that I'm more able to embrace, like, just as far as my interests are concerned. So for this project, it's expanding on the idea of Paleolithic era, but now it's set in a world where there's fucking black magical blood fucking incantations and like a story about an entity that is essentially, putting a specific tribe at risk of extinction, or forever, eternal enslavement, really, not extinction, but they may as well be, because if they are not, if they are not the victors of this war, between this mammoth horde and this tribe, they will be enslaved for their own blood because it is considered their energy source. Like this mammoth horde that I've made. I feel crazy putting all of this together because like I'm pulling from, like whatever I've come to understand as a person that's been on this fucking rock for 37 years. I just take little bits and pieces of different media and there's no specific thing that I'm being influenced by. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna see elements of, like Conan, and you're gonna see elements of, I don't even know. Like there's probably some fucking Star Wars in there. It's kind of early on. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a concept I'm starting to build that can help me continue to write in a creative way that's interesting to me.
Sure.
And get people into a storyline, you know what I mean, that isn't just guts. And I mean, there's guts, there's definitely gore, but it's not just about being gory, and it's not just about being gross. It's got elements of that baked in with, a fucking an epic, you know what I mean, story. So
Yes.
yeah.
Can I ask you, like, it's a question about your personal, like, what do you listen to usually? Like, do you have any specific artist that I don't know, maybe you just, because some people just don't even, but I mean, this
No,
guy, anyone, yeah.
I definitely listen to music. I listen to all sorts of stuff to influence me. Like, again, I mentioned like a lot of the early Death Doom, like Cyanide from the US, Dercada, a lot of things from Seraphic Decay Records, which I'm younger and I'm learning all the time about this stuff. But as I have gotten more and more into death metal, it's only helped me kind of formulate what I'm looking to do with this band. But then it's different because it's not like depressive. It's not, that's another thing. Like, I find that there's a lot of misery in death metal, and it works, for a cathartic reason. But for me, I don't want to harp on how miserable things are if I feel that way, because it just manifests itself in a negative way in my life. And I've thought about this for a long time. I feel like it's way too easy for me to be negative. Yeah. It's easy for so many people to be negative about what's going on in their life and put it out in lyrics and make it this like dark, feeling, but it'll become like an eternal cloud, and it'll become so disruptive in my own life to where I wouldn't even be able to continue to write, because like I have to have something to look forward to make like, some sort of progression in my life. And if I'm just constantly looking at things like they're miserable, like the music I listen to, it's not going to put me forward with what I'm creating. But yeah, I'm listening to all sorts of different stuff, but a lot of the times when I'm listening to death metal, that's where I'm taking that influence. Ripakulu from Finland, recently, Gormant has been heavy on rotation. And then like newer stuff like Vastum has a huge influence in what we're doing. I really love those dudes. I like to feel like I'm a little friendlier with them. Actually, over the years, I've seen, Colin in Mortuous, and we've become friendlier. Dan, he's a fucking maniac. I've never seen someone with so much energy and so much like enthusiasm to like get in the crowd and fuck with everybody. But like he's friendly and he does it with love, but he's like it's like pseudo violence. You know what I mean? He's a fucking strong ass motherfucker. He could fuck so many people up. But that's not what the love is. That's not what death metal is. It's not like, you're going and fucking actually hitting people. You want people to enjoy it. You want it to be brutal, but it's like, it's not hardcore. And you're not just out there fucking swinging your fists and crowd killing and shit. And I just love that about Dan, because like, he's super like in the moment, and he makes everyone really fucking appreciate being in the moment with him. And their music is just like insanely sick. It's just right in the pocket. I love death metal that's like keeps it simple. It's effective, and it stays in the pocket, and it's not trying too hard. It's just there being fucking evil and gross and weird. So like that's my biggest thing. Degraved, some homies out in Seattle, they've been doing a lot of stuff lately. I think they did cross paths with Vastin while they were out on their tour with Corpus Awful, and Undergang. I just watch all this shit from afar, and I'm like, yeah, like, I just feel like such a dork. But I'm friendly with these dudes, and I'm like, oh, that looks sick. And I like, I just like pop into their DMs, and I'm just like, I like to stay friendly with those guys, because over time we've gotten the privilege to play with them in Philly. And when I say them, I mean, we have played with Vastum, we've played with Mortuous, we've played with Corpus Awful, Cerebral Rot, Undergang. Like, this show is especially important to me as far as a memory goes. This poster here is something I put together, and David and I actually did a collaboration. David of Extremely Rotten Records. I'm sorry, Extremely Rotten Productions. So this was a really sick show that we were able to put together. A couple of friends of mine in different bands in Philly kind of put this together. I helped, promote it and kind of orchestrate like things when it actually came down to the day. Thankfully, Soulside Journeyman, who's Chris from Bloodspore, that's my other band, and Absolute Power is basically like it's our buddy Sean, who is also in an incredible band called Caesarean. But this was a killer lineup, and we were able to get Undergang to play, Scattered Remnants, Moros, who had just put out a new record. They did a CD release with our label, Morbid Chapel, and then they also worked through a local label here, and then our band Bloodsport and Bone Weapon and Caesarean. So it was a really sick show, and so I did this piece of artwork here, and I had David do this side, and I combined them for the framing of the poster. So that was like one of those specific shows that really meant a lot to me, because of how inspired I am from David and anything that he works on. From Phrenolith to Undergang to things like Wormridden before that. So yeah, I listen to a lot. Like, I'm bringing probably the most death metal influence into things. Like, I'm teaching the guys about like certain things. They're coming with their influences in death metal too. We got Morbid Angel that really fuels a lot of the riffs, and like different elements for Isaac. Will's just fair game for anything. He just rolls with it, and it's pretty awesome. But I've never seen someone that can pick up bass with a guitar so fast. So like, I've always just been super stoked.
Yeah. Just another question. So you have your music right now also on like streaming platforms, because it's for sure. So we all have to do. Can you talk also about the physical stuff that you have, like tapes, CD or vinyl? Are you working on all of them, or
do you have a preference or something?
Well, so I wanted to put this out on vinyl, but it ended up just not working out for this recent release.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to figure out what we want to do with the next release. We do have a split coming out with a sick band here in Philly that we don't really have I can't really, I'm not going to talk about it just yet. But it's getting put together pretty soon. After MDF, I'm going to be putting my energy towards getting that finished up. And, you know, we want to find a label that well, I mean, first of all, Transylvanian has been incredible. Morbid Chapel also have been very helpful in putting out CD. Transylvanian we've worked with them, James, twice now with the demo EP tape, and now this Chaos Marked by Death and Son tape as well. Do I have a preference? I would like vinyl for our next release for sure, especially because like a lot of energy was put into like the story and the idea for this record, and it would be cool maybe down the line to have a record label put it out on vinyl. You know, perhaps that's something that can be worked out in the future. But unfortunately, I think we just kind of missed our window. We were talking with certain labels, and it just kind of didn't feel like it was going to work because we wanted to make sure that we had something to offer for the release show. And because the release show got booked and figured out, like, you know, at a certain time, the window was too short to actually work for it to not, you know, to have a vinyl release before the actual music, because we wanted the music to be released, and then we wanted to play the show and have tapes and or CDs or both. And we were able to do that, which was great. That was like, that meant a lot to be able to have those things, but vinyl just couldn't get squeaked in there with the label we were talking to. So down the line. But the split is coming out on the label that we did talk about putting it out. So yeah.
And you have new live events, right? New concerts upcoming. Is it right?
We do. So tomorrow we're playing Maryland Death Fest at Angels Rock Bar, which DeGraved actually played last year. So we're pretty stoked to be able to do to play that same stage. You know, because I was out there supporting those guys. Druid Lord also played. It was a sick event. There was like so many fucking people just getting fucking wild. So we hope to see the same, you know, when we play tomorrow. We play at 10:40 p.m. It's just an insane amount of awesome bands. So, you know, hopefully we hopefully some people enjoy what we're doing. And then in September, we have something we'll be announcing shortly, but it hasn't been announced yet, so we can't say.
Sure.
And after that, we're just focusing on writing. We don't have anything else booked or figured out. We had a couple of ideas floating around, but it's going to be a lighter rest of the year for shows for us while we write this new record. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, so at this point, I mean, I know that you have a rehearsal tonight, so
anyway, we got to practice tonight.
So we wish you a very nice night, and I wish you the best concert ever tomorrow, and I really encourage everyone who can just go and listen to them and support the bands, guys. It's very important. And
Hell yeah! Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fran, Alf. Really appreciate your interest. Thanks for having me on, and stoked to do it.
Thanks a lot, Fred.
Thank you so much, Fred. It was a really pleasure to have you here, and I want to thank you and thanks everyone that was watching. Anyway.